What's up, guys? It's 9:04. It's 9:04. It's not 9:06. It's not 9:07. It is 9:04. We're getting better over here. Look at that. All right, hit that like button. What's up, guys? Now, the Thursday night live stream. We got some great bottles to taste tonight. We've got some samples, actually, that are probably going to be the focus. You saw on the thumbnail the new Jack Daniel's Coy Hill. This is the lower proof 2024 edition. Got a sample of that from Jason. Thank you, Jason. I've got a sample of the Redwood Empire. This is a Haystack Needle single barrel. This is a rye, and there's a bourbon and a rye. This is from Scott. Thank you, Scott. I've got some other kind of interesting things smattered around here. I don't think I've tasted them. Some of them have some taken out of the samples, but I think it was on like a Patreon stream maybe, or like a micro batches hang, which is the top tier of the Patreon. So we're going to get into those as well. We'll kind of flex those in as we go. And then what else is up there? Remus Gatsby. So I've actually already tasted. We're just diving right in, by the way. Sorry about that. We're just diving right in. Remus Gatsby 2024. I've already tasted a sample on a stream before, but I traded Justin, one of the Patreon members, just friend of the channel, friend more generally, and I traded him like half a bottle of the batch 3 13th Colony after I kind of tasted it and went through it. And I got this mostly full Remus Gatsby 15 year. And so I wanted to spend a little bit more time with it because my time had been limited to a 1 ounce sample. So we'll actually dive back into this because people have been asking me to review this bottle or, have you tasted it on a live stream? I say yes. And then I don't know what stream it was on because I don't think I put it on the thumbnail. So now it's on the thumbnail. Now I can reference them to this stream, and we'll spend a little more time with that one because I did have some complaints about it when I tasted it initially. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to do the Penelope Estate, which is the private select. And listen, for a brand that is so good at branding, right? And I've always liked Penelope for their branding and stuff. This estate collection is a little bit of a disaster as far as it, in my opinion, like knowing what things are and the delineation of things. It just all feels kind of confusing to me, but maybe other people don't feel that way. But we'll dive into that. I've got about half an ounce of that one left. And I do want to highlight two things very quickly, and I need to get these scrolling across the screen here. So let me edit the banner. Give me like 18 seconds. Was that 18 seconds? All right. So we're going to have two giveaways tonight, guys. Two separate giveaways happening at the same time. So I'll explain this later once more people get in here. Hit that like button if you haven't already, please. We'll get some more folks jumping in. We've had about 200 on recent streams. However, the first giveaway is going to be as normal. Venmo, PayPal, or Super Chats. Every $5 gets you an entry. We'll do the randomizer at the end. That giveaway is going to be for a sample pack. Now, we're going to have two winners of that sample pack giveaway. You can find all 12 samples you're going to be getting in the description of this video. I'll highlight them right now. Just so you know. So that's giveaway number 1, and this operates as normal. That giveaway is going to be our 2 Buffalo Turkey picks, Bard and Princess. All right, so we got the husband and wife picks. Me and Sarah picked these barrels. I think they're some of the best Buffalo Turkey barrels that I've had, besides a particular short barrel that River Roots released. So we got 133 proof, 121 proof between these two. So those are going to be in the sample pack. Remus Gatsby 24. This old Louisville 35 bottle short barrel that Ryan Alves picked, which is just a badass whiskey. We'll taste that tonight too. River Roots Opus, Coda, so those are some of our picks. This unreleased short barrel double oaked Bourye, we're not releasing this till January. Heaven Hill 17, we're going to throw that in there. Russell's 15, going to throw that in there. So you can side by side those two. I think Heaven Hill wins, but that'll be up to you to decide. I'll throw in 2 mystery samples in that pack as well, plus the Jimmy Red 7-year weeded that I tasted last week. So there you go. That's going to be what is in the sample pack. It's going to be 12 total samples, 2 winners. Last thing as far as giveaways go. Let me check the chat. All right, looks like we're good. Last thing as far as giveaways go. If you are not a Drums and Drams Patreon member, this is only for non-Patreon members. Patreon members, we're going to do our own free giveaway for some of these bottles. But if you are not a Patreon member, there is a Google form link in the description of this video. And that Google form link, at some point in this stream, I'm going to say it's shut off, right? Like towards the end of the stream, and I'll stop accepting responses. It's a free giveaway entry. As long as you're not a Patreon member, you're just going to put your name and your email address in there. And what you're going to win possibly is one of two things. One is a Backbone Irish whiskey pick that we just did, and I'm telling you this is going to blow you away. It's a $60 bottle that's going to blow you away. I can just promise you that. And I never talk about our picks this way because it feels a little bit, self-absorbed. This is going to blow you away. I promise. And it's not like any Irish whiskey you've had. And it could be free. And the last thing is the second place winner of that giveaway is going to get a sample pack of recent picks, including this one. Now, this was donated by Nick Blevins, a very generous Patreon member. So say thank you to Nick if you end up winning this prize. And Patreon members, Nick has donated 2 other bottles to you guys that we'll do a giveaway for, in a few days or so. So there you go, 2 giveaways. One as normal, super chats, blah, blah, blah. Great sample pack for that. You'll be the first people to taste Bard and Princess before they release in mid-January. And then the other folks who are not Patreon members, you got your Google form giveaway. So it's going to be a fun night. Let's go. All right. So I'm starting off actually tonight with that Backbone Irish. And you can see the color on this is pretty awesome. It's like chocolate chip cookies and mocha and a little shortbread note. And it's a good little palate warm up at about 115 proof. So, the first thing that I'm going to pour, get a little water, and then I'm going to pour probably the lowest proof thing that we're going to be tasting tonight. And that is going to be the Penelope Estate Collection Private Select. This was sent by Adam McIntyre, who's going to be handling an upcoming merch drop that we're doing. Tonight's full of shameless plugs, I'm sorry. I need to get Adam a couple of assets before we can do that drop, and that's on me. So thank you, Adam, for the sample of the Penelope. We'll let this sit for just a second. And I'll check out some of the folks super chatting. Say hello to some guys in the chat. All righty. Let's get some hydration going here. I might be getting sick, so please remind me to hydrate tonight if you guys can. If you don't see me drinking water, tell me to drink water. All right, we got BL Brewing Co. What's up, man? Good to see you. Incognito, Team Vanilla. Tony Bag of Donuts. Hey, Merry Drams, miss everybody. Backbone Irish. Nice. He's got it in his glass. Can't wait to get my hands on the Crittendens. Already good response on the Crittendens, which is very exciting, Tony. Good to see you here, man. Leo, Noah, Matt, Guy. I see Tom, Rizzle D. Oh, Brandon, what's up, dude? Cam's going to hate Spirit Walker 3. Yeah, so that was the other one that was on the thumbnail. Spirit Walker 3 we got to taste. I'll probably taste that second, maybe. And you know what, Brandon? I don't know. I've had one teeny nip off the top. It doesn't even look like I've had any. I just ripped it right out of the bottle. And I'll save my comments. We'll get into Spirit Walker 3. Johnny Utah doing my advent calendar, then the Backbone Rye and I are going to dance. Root Beer Rye. There you go. All right, Steven. Thank you, man, for the $50 super chat. That is freaking awesome. I'm excited to hang out at Still Austin. I got you in for 10, man. Still Austin pre-meal contribution. Johnny says Gatsby juice is okay, but the packaging is 10 out of 10. Listen, the Gotham City bottle, the what do you call this? Art Deco. That's what this is. Super cool bottle. Tim Tam Slam, how many different proof batches are there of the 24 Coy Hill? I think they're all single barrels still. Yeah, they're all single barrels. Just like, so the 2021 was single barrels but high proof. Then they did the small bottles, and those were the batches. And then now they're doing another single barrel run, but of lower proofs from lower floors in the Rick House. We'll see what that's all about. Jason, speak of the devil. Jason sent that sample. Thank you, man, for the super chat. Got you in for 1. All right, Jesse, Copper Wolf Ryan. What's up, dude? I'm going to keep scrolling down. Sven, you like Pursuit Double Oak Rye more than you like... What are we talking about? I don't like Pursuit Double Oak Rye. Oh, Jesse. Oh, I like it a lot better than Cam. I see what you guys are saying. Either way, fair. I don't like that rye, man. And it's got this weird, like, medicinal... Yeah, it feels kind of forced, is what I would say. I like a double oak product that doesn't feel forced. So there you go. Toshi, good to see you, dude. Evening cam and all. Cheers. Got the backbones yesterday. The Irish is very good, and would never think that's Irish if I had it blind. Yeah, I'm with you. Slad was giving me crap about my infomercial. We'll throw in the Jimmy Red sample. Act now. Parker, I won the right to buy the Penelope Founders Reserve. I have no idea what to do with it. Which one did you get, Parker? I think there's like the 4-grain, the wheat whiskey. I think it's a wheat whiskey. And something. And then this, I think, is the other one. Although I'm not sure. Tom, man, thank you. Another $50 super chat. Holy crap. I feel like we haven't done anything, which we haven't. I need to get into some tastings here. Backbone pick showed up today. We'll crack that myself once I get home. Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to get your thoughts on the Irish. And look, the double oak rye. I mean, that's a crushable bottle. Cam, anyone ever tell you both look and sound a fair bit like JJ Redick? Matt Porter says that, actually. Okay. Keith, thank you for the super chat, man. If I could spell Keith. In for 10. Happy holidays. You've been busy. Yeah, man. It's been a busy time. Last 3 gigs start tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I am done for a month. No more gigs. And I can get back to the channel. Matt Porter called me. He's like, dude, you haven't been online. What are you doing? So, called me yesterday, and I'm like, I'm sorry, man. I think I'm getting to the... I think I'm at the bottom now. Whew. Mojo says, I like how Cam shits on bottles he doesn't like. To be honest, it's refreshing. I try not to shit on them anymore. I've tried to, get better with being tactful about my criticisms. But, yeah, there's no sense in beating around the bush, you know? And I've definitely been caught doing that before, and it's... You know, you always try to walk a fine line, I think. Okay. What's up, Colin? What's up, dude? Okay, so on to the Penelope. Let's start with that. Penelope Founders Reserve. This is the 101.2 proof. 9 years old. Let's check it out on the nose. My friend won the whole Penelope set, but can't get there to get him. Oh, that sucks. Although, I mean, what are the prices like, actually? Does anybody in the chat know? I think this one is fairly inexpensive at like 80, but I thought maybe the wheat whiskey or whatever the older one was closer to 200. I'm totally spitballing, so everything with a grain of salt right now. Okay. So on this Penelope, it's funny, I get like... So it's soft, number one. It's 101.2 proof. It's soft on the nose. It's coming off with a couple of different like layers that I'm picking up. Number one, for an MGP product, this actually has a lot of caramel. I know that's a super generic note, but a lot of MGP products are fruitier or they're spicier and they kind of lean in different directions, whereas I feel like a lot of Kentucky bourbons can be a little more caramel forward. This actually has a very strong caramel presence just in the middle of the profile. Now, on top of that, I get a sweet lemon type note, like almost like a little bit of a lemon pound cake kind of thing, lemon dessert. And it's not particularly tart. We're not talking about... Yeah, it's not really tart and it's not really candied. So it's not like a lemon starburst necessarily. It's not like a lemon tart, right? It's more like a sweet lemon cake of some sort. And with that comes a little bit of like a frosting type note too. I also think there's like somewhat of like a baked apple kind of note on here. And that's something that I get on some older MGPs. Yeah. Almost like an apple pie. So it smells good. My nose totally had to dial down and acclimate to this being such a soft, low-proof whiskey on the nose. And I would say, generally speaking, it feels kind of weak. It's pleasant, it's nice, but it feels kind of weak. Just a gentle rush of spice up front. White pepper, barrel spice, not like a fragrant spice. So a gentle rush of that. and immediately it starts to get a little bit watery, a little bit thin as it rolls back. There's some tannin here that grips right from the front of the palate. And so as it rolls back, that spice hits, immediately starts to fall away. It's like a pretty quick decrescendo of spice, right? And while it does get thinner, it still maintains that tannic feeling on your cheeks and on kind of like the sides of your tongue. So there's still some grip as it goes back, but that doesn't save the fact, it doesn't save it considering the fact that it gets so thin on the mid palate is what I would say. Coming back to the nose, it's getting a little more fruity, a little bit more expressive. But to me, this is the case of an MGP product that I just wish had more proof. And it's a criticism I think you can probably lob at a lot of MGP. I think one thing we're going to taste tonight that I want to highlight for you guys actually is this Old Bones Bourbon Single Barrel. Now this is Dara's pick, Dara and Bill's pick, average drinker, sticker on the back, all that. This is over 120 proof MGP. So we're going to kind of let's go through this MGP cycle real quick, actually. I think that's going to be fun. So for me, this Penelope, even at $80, and let me see. Whoa, $1K for all. There's 5 of these? Okay. I can never remember how many of these are. How many of these there are. Let's go through this cycle. But for me, this Penelope is a pass. Like, even at the price, even if it's fairly inexpensive at $80, you can do better just buying a single barrel pick of MGP from any mostly trusted palate that you know. It doesn't need to be your favorite store or your favorite group. I think just most MGP picks to me are just going to be better than that product. And that, now that MGP has acquired Penelope, and I feel like their barrel access is probably really good, I do kind of wish that stood out more. And maybe that's kind of like the value of the line, the value product of the line. I'm not sure. But for me, I would never really reach for that bottle. And if you do reach for it, it's like a start the night with this bottle kind of pour. But that strong caramel presence in the middle, at the very least, is pretty interesting for an MGP product. Because I always find MGP most of the time to be fruitier. Parker says there's 5 lots of the 100% wheat whiskey. They were drawing winners. Oh, wow. I hope the profiles are vastly different if they're going to do that. If they're even remotely similar, and they're trying to tempt you into buying 5 that are mostly similar, I would hope that those would be pretty diversified. Who knows? Let me get the Gatsby out of the way so there's no confusion as to what we're tasting. Here it is. What's up, Jeremy? I will see you at the Whiskey Blendery, dude. Those are going to be fun picks. The picks down in Texas. Still Austin, Whiskey Blendery. That is going to be a good time. All right, so on your right of these 3 samples in the middle, or these 3 pours, on your right is the Penelope that I just tasted. Let me get this off the screen here. Oh, shit. I totally missed the super chat. Dude. Thank you, bro. All right, so for those of you guys who weren't in the last live stream, BL Brewing Co. dropped a $300 super chat, which was crazy on that live stream. And now with a $100 super chat, holy crap, man. All right, let me get you in here. Jeez Louise. I'll put you in as BL Brewing Co. just so I don't screw anything up. All right, in for 20 entries. Thanks, man. Wow, cheers. Do a first sip of this old Louisville pick for you. Oh, all right, so we're going to talk about all this MGP here. That's good. Damn. Let's see here. Cool. Sorry, guys. A little logistics here. Just a second. So if you're hanging out tonight and you manage to pick up this pick from Dara, from the Average Drinker, let me know. And if you have it, go ahead and pour it out, because we're going to taste this together. Okay. I don't think I missed any super chats above. If I did, please let me know in the chat, guys. I never want to miss super chats, and if I do, I'll always make it right. Speaking of which, I owe Andrew, from the last live stream where I missed his super chat, Andrew B, HTX, I think that's his screen name in the, probably in the Discord, right? I owe him 4 entries to tonight's giveaway. All right, John Martino got you in for 2. Thank you, man. And Mr. Mr. EVOO Rambler. Mr. Whiskey Rambler. This identifies as a $300 super chat. No, I love it. I love it. All right. Brian's at it again. That's right. So I didn't even read what you said, Brian. I was like just so stunned. Cheers. Thanks for the great picks. If I win, I will give it away. All right. Jeez. That's awesome, man. Everybody jumping in right now. Hit that like button. We're on a little MGP adventure real quick. Kind of a detour. So we started with the Penelope 101.2 Estate Private Select. Now we're going to go on to this 116 proof. This is Justin's House of Bourbon pick. It was up on bourbonoutfitter.com. Ryan Alves did this pick at Old Louisville. This was 35 bottles in this barrel. 10-year MGP, 36% rye bourbon. And then right next to it, slightly higher proof at 122.8 is the Old Bones 10-year pick. This is the 21 rye mash, not the 36, so a little different, but same age, little higher proof. See how these all compare. But the reason being, we're putting it next to this lower proof Penelope, which I thought was a little disappointing. All right, so on the nose of this Old Louisville, this is just deep, rich blackberry and grape notes. Very sweet. Yeah, it's, you know what? I know we're going to taste the Spirit Walker. I know this is called the Cobbler. This is probably in a more overtly cobbler way because it was put into all these brandy barrels. But in a more natural whiskey way, just without finishing, this Old Louisville has kind of these cobbler-type notes to it. It's so sweet and so dark and rich. All right. It's a really broad whiskey, you know? Now, it's not crazy spicy. It's 116 proof. It's got quite a lot of, like, leathery kind of oaky, you know, not dryness. I mean, I could say tannin again, but a little bit of this leathery, oaky sensation on the back. It lets you know that it's old, right? And a little bit of that kind of citrus component in here, too. It is 36 rye, high rye. Similar to the Penelope, but when you put these side by side, it's not a comparison. Like, the Penelope feels almost like... Don't take this comparison the wrong way, but if you ever get the chance to taste Double Eagle Very Rare, what that whiskey feels like to me is that you have whiskey suspended in water. Like the solution, like they didn't mix well, right? The solution, it's not in solution, whatever you want to say. It's like whiskey suspended in water, and it feels like everything around it that you're tasting is water, and there's this kernel of whiskey flavor in the middle. That's how I think about the Double Eagle, and that's how I think about this Penelope. Now, I'm not comparing them as far as quality and age, but just that idea. That's what happens when I smell the Penelope. The Old Louisville feels like fully integrated. There's all this flavor maxing out, you know, the proof of the whiskey. But even at 116, like, not a lot of developmental spice. more just developmental sweetness. And, you know, it's got a little bit of this short barrel characteristic to it where you would think higher concentration of flavor. Definitely has that. And so now, and listen, this is $150. I think it's worth every bit of $150. This blows the doors off of, for instance, the Dark Arts pick that we did, you know, back in, I think that was April or something like that. This murders that pick. This is a great pick. It's almost like Ryan Alves has a ridiculously good palate. It's, you know? I'm just kidding, Ryan. We all know you do. All right, now on to Dara's pick, which is this 10-year 21 rye bourbon from Backbone. And here's the deal. Price on this was $90, which value-wise is, I mean, that's about as good as it's going to get for something like this, especially at the proof. On the nose of this one, it's just more oak-driven. This is like, it's got a little funky coffee oak to it. Yeah, I mean, coffee grounds is the best way I would put it. And there is some sort of dark fruit, but whereas I feel like the Old Louisville is kind of a fresher, like I said, that's kind of like these dark berry, dark grape, cobblery kind of notes. This one feels more like a dried fruit sensation. Yeah, a little bit of, I talk about rubberiness in whiskey, and I usually don't like that. And that typically comes from like double oak products, and it's way overdone. This has just a tinge of that note, but it's not enough for me to complain about it. In fact, I think it works with this coffee note in a way that makes the whiskey just feel more complex. And you can tell that it's got more proof to it. And so here's the whole point of doing these three side by side. Man, the difference in MGP as you go from 101 proof to 122 proof, and these are three vastly different picks and different mash bills, I get it. But I think you can apply this across the board 90% of the time. The MGP that's better to me is typically if you can find 120 plus proofers, it just changes. There's something about this, the way that much alcohol delivers the flavors, assuming it's a good barrel or a good batch, it's a completely different experience than drinking it at 101 proof. Even if that 101 proof is cask strength, it can be good, but I don't feel like I ever find anything that's outstanding at that proof point. Whereas like this pick, this average drinker pick is really good. This old, and like, think about the price, $90. Crazy for that price. The Old Louisville is awesome because it feels old. It feels rich. Like I would mistake this for 12, 13 year whiskey. And it's got this broad richness to it and so much fruit. And then you get to the Penelope, which is almost, and it feels like young now on the palate and grainy. Whereas same price essentially for this pick. I mean, come on. So there you go. People are going to hate me when I say this, but a little root beer note in the average drinker pick. It's my favorite note. All right, so MGP rant over. If you didn't get this pick, you should have got this pick. Just saying. Ah, that's the Irish. Oh no, Tom says, "Oh man, my Backbone order did not have Backbone." Tom, what was in the box? They should have breakage bottles held back that they can hook you up with. If they don't, I will hook you up because I've got some extras here at home. But yeah, I think they always will send it to you, and oftentimes just say, just keep the bottles. I'm not sure how they'll handle it, but either way, you'll get taken care of. Brandon says, the barrel we bottled for Alves today, dude, the color was ridiculous. Sam, I compare the experience for Penelope to Eagle River 17. Obviously different quality, but same vibe. That's exactly what I'm That's exactly it, man. It's the same sensation when it comes to drinking those products. Steven says, with much reluctance and humility, I will provide my delivery info to BL Brewing Co. if he wins. Nice. Nick says, that Old Louisville is damn good. It really is. All right, so we have 157 in here now. This is a good time for me to reiterate a couple of things that we talked about when there were about 50 people earlier. Number one, again, please hit the like button. Number two, let me do a quick shameless plug for the Patreon. $5 or $10 a month, great barrel picks, Patreon live streams, all that good stuff. You can find the link in the description. Now, let's get on to the giveaways. 2 giveaways tonight. Let's start with the regular one, which is scrolling down at the bottom. Every $5 super chat, whether it's Venmo or PayPal, which you can find that information in the description, avoids the 30% YouTube cut, or super chats in the live chat, will get you entered to win a 12-pour sample pack. There's going to be 2 of them. That's going to include Heaven Hill 17, Russell's 15, 2 of our Buffalo Turkey barrels that are coming out next month. No one else has tasted them, right? You'll be the first ones. Same with this short barrel, a double-oaked Bourye, and then a bunch of other stuff that you'll see listed in there. Some of our picks, some mystery, some not our picks. That list is in the description of the video. I'm going to keep referencing the description. Sorry. I know it's annoying. But we have a second giveaway, and that's going to be for anybody that's not a Patreon member. You're going to... there's a Google form in the description of the video underneath all that stuff. You'll see it says, not a Patreon member, free giveaway. No cost. Just send your name and email in that Google form, link down below, and then come back to the stream, hopefully. We'll draw for it at the end. You're going to be entered for 2 prizes. Number 1, gifted by Nick Blevins, Patreon member, is this Backbone Irish pick we did. This is going to blow you away, even if you're not an Irish fan. Number 2 is a sample pack of recent Drums and Drams picks, including this. That's a free giveaway for non-Patreon members. You can enter that and super chat and get in the other one. All right, so here we go. Jason says, I love the short barrel double oak, drinking that now. I do too, man. It's such a different profile for me personally because it is heavy oak, but it's like maple chocolate donut oak. And so I'm cool with that because it's not fake sweetener buttercream oak, which you get from Toasted, and it's not rubber coffee that you get from like over oaked double oak. Sven, thank you for the super chat. I'll take all of the entries of the others that want to back. Well, here we go. I'll get you in here for 4. All right, man. William, can you describe what you mean by front, middle, and back of the palate? Are you referring to the timing of the experience? Yeah. And to me, like, let me take a sip of something. This is, I think, Dara's pick. I swallow. There's the front. Now I'm feeling it on the middle of my tongue. The spice is now kind of trailing, and the flavor is kind of trailing to the back, and it's rolling down. To me, when I talk about front, middle, back, it's not an immediate thing. This is kind of an interesting discussion, man. So, sorry, guys, let me nerd out for just a second. I think we probably all perceive this differently. Some folks, what they'll do is they'll put the whiskey in their mouth, and they'll rinse it around a bunch, and they're trying to pick up flavors when they're doing that. And let me see what that's like. And so to me, when I have it in my mouth and I'm rinsing it around, I guess I'm detecting some things, but mostly what's happening is my saliva is watering down the whiskey. It's coating, but I still am not really analyzing the flavors until I swallow the whiskey. So I usually do a quick little rinse, get it coated, and then swallow it. And I try to do the same amount of that as I go through my pours so that that variable is as controlled as possible. If I'm drinking for enjoyment, I might rinse it around a little bit more in my mouth if it's a lower proof to try to make it feel like it is a higher proof whiskey as I drink it. So all this to say, I think everybody's experience is going to be different, but I find that I don't start detecting flavors and experience until I actually swallow the whiskey. And there's like a 1 or 2 second delay after swallowing to then feeling like there it is on the front. Then you wait 3-4 seconds. There it is in the middle. There it is in the back. And so I guess that's kind of the way I think of it, kind of an overview. And then when I'm thinking about like what is the profile of the whiskey? Most of what I'm pulling from is that middle, you swallow it. All right, there's the front. Wait a couple more seconds. Then you hit the sweet spot of where the whiskey is like, to me, it should be in full bloom on the palate, most active. And that's where I'm kind of trying to hone in on the flavors that I'm detecting. So I'll think there for flavors mostly. And then you can start to analyze the finish a little more of the front. But the lion's share of the flavors I'm talking about are from the middle of the palate. And then as I continue sipping it, I'm thinking about the drinking experience. How does that development track from the front, middle to back? Typically, my first sip is just to think about the development. Like, where did the spice peak? Did the flavor come with the spice, or did the flavor fall off as the spice went up? I'm trying to almost graph it out in my mind on my first sip. And then after that, I start to think more about flavor. All right. Terry Powers, Christmas limited super chat. I get it, man. Christmas is expensive. Thank you. I got you in for 4. I'm going to scroll up and see if I missed anybody. Sean Holtgrave in for 1. I got it. You could be Holtgrave. There we go. Holtgrave in for 1. Fingers crossed. What's up, Tom Morrow? Good to see you, man. And Jason P. In for 4. Thank you. Morgan, it was a 9-year Penelope estate. Haven't had the 10-year. Haven't had any of the others except for that 9. Greg, I had a Bluegrass Blue Corn bottled in bond. I've heard some of those are wacky. I actually dumped it. First bottle I couldn't even fathom giving away. That's not good. Yeah, I've heard some pretty wacky things about... I think that's their own distillate, isn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, Tom got... Oh, that's why you said that. I got 5 bottles of Bluegrass bottled in bond. Well, that sounds like not a great consolation prize then. That's... okay, that's funny. I missed your little discussion up here. All right, so I need to get to some of these Venmo super chats as we get going here too, guys. Make sure I didn't miss any in the live chat. I don't think I did. Morgan, I'll send you some of the 10. Liked it more than 9. I'd love that. I have no more 9 left to compare, but I think I'll know if I like it better just to memory. Joe, cheers. Is today this month's hat washing day? No, Joe, I got a haircut yesterday, so I can actually take the damn hat off, dude. I have needed a haircut for so long. Like, it was doing this. It was like high school me, where the hair is like flipping on both sides. Oh my God, it was horrible. Good to see you, Jason. I hope your package landed of those samples. All right, and here we go. In for 1 entry, says Sam for all of your muling. Oh man, that's a Discord inside joke, guys. Tip of your tongue, the mouth coat, middle of your mouth, back of your palate. Your tongue picks up different flavors on different sections of it. Sweet, spicy, herbal. It's not rocket surgery. No, it's not rocket science, but I've heard people say that the thing about the tongue in different sections, and then I've heard people say that was debunked. I don't know what's true. Honestly, I don't really care, to be frank. Like, I don't care about what picks up what flavors. I just care if I pick up the flavors. It doesn't matter where it comes from for me. And maybe that's just oversimplifying it, but I don't know. Okay, let's keep moving. Let's get into... Let's see. What are we going to do next? On the note of MGP, we should probably get into the Remus Gatsby. So let's do a deep dive into this. Now that I have more than a 1-ounce sample, I can actually kind of dig into this and see if my criticisms were warranted. So thanks, Justin, for this bottle. Excuse me, jeez. Had tacos before the stream. We're back to tacos before the stream. Oh my God, that smells so good. All right, I see 28 entries in the Google form giveaway in the description of the video. That's awesome. Cheers, guys. Who did that? Which one of you degenerates put that in there? Oh, God. Someone send me a DM and tell me. All right. That's fun. That's too funny, man. Derek, what's up? Hopping in a bit late. Been dealing with the joys of home ownership. Oh, geez. I don't even want to know. Tell me anyways. I'm going to be there soon. Tell me anyways. Andrew Campbell, thanks for the 5 entries. $25 super chat. Discount code CAM didn't work for me on the Backbone picks. So here's some penance. That's a little too much penance there, man. Won't say no to some samples if I'm lucky enough. Well, cheers. Thank you for the super chat. Okay, on to this 104.9 proof. Now that I've got enough in my glass to really sit with it, I tell you what, grape bubblegum all day on this Gatsby. It's very outdoorsy, it's perfumey, it's floral, but it's like dark floral. Dark berry floral is what I want to say. Man, this smells good. I mean, to me, it's just a fruit monster, leather bomb whiskey. It smells really old and leathery and oaky. Like when MGP gets to this age, that leather note comes out in a very funky way. It smells awesome. Kind of sour up front. Man. See, that's the thing. So I don't think I was... The last time I tasted this on a stream out of the sample, I said that this goes super dry on the palate. And I think it happens here too. I don't want to say that this is actually a flat whiskey. I think Justin may have told me that he thought it was flat. I could see someone calling this flat. To me, flat implies that even up front on the palate, there's not a lot of action. It's just kind of placid. This, to me, has a nice little burst up front of these sweet, sweet and sour, very, very dark fruit notes. And all of that oak and leather. You know what it smells? I mean, this smells like a very old Four Roses product. Like if you've ever had any of those 16 to 20-year-old single barrels, I know those are hard to get. They have this funk that develops on those Four Roses. This has that funk. It's not dusty necessarily. It's just a funk. But right after that initial burst on the palate, there it is. It's delicious. Now, totally bone dry. And the flavors go away. As it gets bone dry, it's like the flavors kind of just evaporate into the sides of your tongue and they go away. Which leaves it with no finish. At 104.9, this should have more of a finish than this. The finish is this dry, it's like a dry rub on your tongue. It's like the driest spice just lingering with these grippy leather notes. I don't know, man. Like if this tasted the way that you want it to taste after you smell it, it would be in the running for whiskey of the year. This is one of the best noses all year, I think, on a whiskey. But the palate is so not put together. Like it just feels like it's not a good blend, is the way that I would say. Like, you know, putting all these barrels together, it didn't work. Something about that didn't work. I actually think last year's is probably better if you're just thinking comprehensively about the whiskey from nose to palate. Even though it's lower proof, even though that one is flat, in my opinion, because there's not a big surge up front. It's a lower proof. I think it's like 98.1 maybe or something. I would still take that over this, even though I wish I could smell this all day. Toshi said, first time homeowner as of 2 years ago, and it's awesome to have a place of your own, but get ready for the costs. Replace garage door opener, HVAC. Dude, don't tell me all this. Don't tell me all this, please. Toshi, was yours, did you have your place built, or was it already there? All right, Sam, thank you for the super chat. Attention, Discord. You guys are going back and forth. Keep doing it. Keep sending super chats back and forth. I'll keep reading them out, I promise. Use Ghost for all your mule needs. Cam, both Crittenden's picks are amazing. Thank you. Excited for the off-profile barrels next drop. Yeah, I can't wait for those. It's good to get some positive feedback on these Crittenden's barrels because I know some folks were like, I don't know this brand. I'm not buying these. I completely get it. But the Crittenden's picks were very good. Mine are going to get here tomorrow. I wish they were here tonight for the stream. They're going to get here tomorrow while I'm at a gig. But I can get home from the gig, have a little sip of each of them, and you know, check in. I always like to check in on the picks after I get them to make sure it's what I was expecting. All right, it's time to get into some Venmo super chats now. Terry's talking about different glasses. I think this is so true. The Irish and a cheater glass, which is what we call these, very different compared to in a Glen. Yeah, the cheater glass would probably make it feel a little less tight, maybe a little less spicy and oaky from that rebarreling. That's what I would predict, I guess. Mike says, enjoying Year of the Rye next to River Roots Naughty and Nice version 2, which I believe was barrel 169. Both are excellent, but your pick is better balanced and has an amazing peppery finish. Thanks, man. I'm glad you like it. Listen, barrel one, if that is barrel 169, which is the cinnamon bomb, I loved that barrel. And I rated that barrel on my spreadsheet that I made of all 20 of those barrels. I gave it the highest rating. It was like 1 out of 5 or something. I think I gave it a 1 or maybe a 1.5, which is slightly under. But I said that anybody that wants like a cinnamon bomb, that to me it wasn't as dark maybe and maybe as rich as the one that I picked. But I thought it had a really solid profile, you know, and a specific profile that a lot of people would like. Tochi says, I bought it already built, but was only built in the mid-90s, had a good inspection, so didn't expect upwards of $50K in the first two. Oh, my God. I don't even want to hear that, dude. Woo! Mike, sipping along with the Remus, I kind of want to just nose along instead. Yeah. Do you get the same thing as me, Mike? Like that bone-dry experience? Mike said, yeah, it's 169 for the... Okay, the first one they put out was 171, which that was a funky barrel, and I liked that funk on 171. Almost picked that one. Okay, let's get this out of the way. Maybe we do... so we got a blind flight to do tonight, and I'd like to do these blind flights now while I'm still fresh. So why not do this blind flight? This was sent in by Modern Neanderthal, Nick, in the Discord. A lot of you guys probably know Nick. If you're not in Drums and Drams Discord, but you're in others, you've probably seen him around. It's like Bourbon Junkies. And Nick's got a great palate. And I feel like I tend to agree a lot with Nick on certain bottles. I'm trying to think of things we don't agree on. Maybe Nick likes double oaked a little more than I do. I'm trying to think about some more expensive double oaks that he's tasted before that. Yeah. Anyways, Nick sent me a 4-pour blind flight. Let me make a little room here. All right. So Nick sent me an answer key here. I gave it to Sarah, my wife, and she wrote out these cards. So we'll do this like a normal Drums and Drams blind flight, where I show you the cards as we go through these pours. I need a little more side-to-side room here. And one last thing I'm going to get is going to be a test card. All right, so there we go. We're ready. Let me check the chat here. Johnny Utah says, just found out this weekend I'm having a third kid. Who needs diaper money when a Princess and Bard sample are on the line? Cheers. Looking forward to your thoughts on my sample. I didn't make the connection, man. I didn't make the connection. So this is Tasty Num Nums, who sent in a... never said that out loud, Tasty Num Nums, but there we go. Who sent a sample that I'm going to try tonight, probably after this blind flight. Got you in for 4 entries. There we go. All right, so grab a few Venmos here as well. William Molnar, Wilmo, sent a super chat before the freaking stream started, which is funny. He sent a $50 super chat. Says, after stream taco fund. Absolutely. Probably going to happen. I had a pre-stream taco party. Now we're going to have an after-stream taco extravaganza. Josh Horn, my buddy Josh here from Columbus, in for 4. Says, cheers, yo. Thanks, man. I see Josh every couple weeks, and we do a little... I always bring bottles over, and it's always a good time. In for 4, Copper Wolf, Ryan Kennerson says, great sample giveaway. Thanks, man. We'll do 2 more here, and then we'll catch up on the others. Jesse is in for 5 whiskey problems with a little princess emoji, and Dan H in for 8. Thank you, Dan. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Let me pour out these blind samples now. So speaking of blind flights, let me get your feedback. Oh, that looks freaking dark. Oh my god. Smells a little crafty-ish, maybe. Maybe a little Detling action in that one. I don't know. All right, sample B. Sample C. What was I saying? I was going to say something. I have no idea. Oh, speaking of blind flights, I'm thinking about doing a series, not an Advent series. Obviously, we're too late for that. But doing a 12 Days of Christmas, 12 Drams of Christmas, or 12 Blinds of Christmas, or 12 Blinds of Dramsmas, or I don't know what I'm going to call it. Starting on Christmas Day, when everybody's Advents are going to be done, and running for the next 12 days. I'm thinking about doing that in the style of an Advent calendar. I don't personally ever want to commit to doing 25 videos in a row. That sounds insane to me. But doing like a 12 Days of Christmas thing, I could probably film that in 2 sittings. And as far as workload goes, manageable, you know? 25 is a tall order, especially if you're trying to edit even a little bit, because it's just a lot to try to manage. Anyways, what do you guys think about that? A 12 Days of Christmas blind thing in the style of an Advent calendar. What do you guys think of it? Give me some feedback in the chat. And then the idea would be that, I have a bunch of blind samples here from people. The ones that I do have, I would ask those people, hey, which one do you think I should do of the 5, 10, 80 that you sent me? Or if I need like a deeper variety or a deeper bullpen of people, just reach out and say, send me 1 sample. What do you think? System Trend, I did review the Remus. 12 drums of Dramsmas. Colin. Steven, please do a 12 drams of Christmas. What do you guys think I should call it? 12 drams of Blindmas? That's funny. I could start it tomorrow, but 12 days of Christmas actually starts on Christmas. Oh, nice, Josh. You got a whiskey advent calendar? Nice. Who's that from, Josh? You just text me. I'm gonna put do not disturb on though. The dinging in my ears when that hits, because I have my AirPods up pretty loud for this background music, so I can hear it because it's at a really low level. When a ding comes through, like a notification, it is brutally loud. 12 days of Dramsmas. Okay, I'm gonna. No, Tony, just Google it. When does the 12 days of Christmas start? Just Google it. I'm telling you, if I had... Listen, I'm going to show you guys as we go what these are. I almost want to bet that Glass 1 is Detling. I almost want to bet on it. But let's just see what happens. This is the test card. I'm not cheating. So this is A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4. I gotta make all my guesses that I normally do. I've got my notebook over here. I'm gonna write down, type of whiskey, proof, age, whether or not I think it's finished, distillery guess, bottle guess. I'm gonna call this the Modern Neanderthal Blind on 12/12/24. Okay, A, B, C, D. Let's get into this now. 12 days of laser code, says Clay. That's the winner. No, but honestly, what do you guys think as far as name? 12 blinds of Dramsmas, 12 drams of Christmas, 12 blinds of Christmas. What do you like as far as name goes? All right, let's do this blind now. Let me show you what's in Glass A. No spoilers in the chat, please. No spoilers in the chat. If I show you Elijah Craig, don't start talking about Heaven Hill. Don't say... You know what I mean. Don't talk about the father of bourbon, which is not true. All right, here you go. Glass A. I'm going to bring this mic over here so I can still talk to you. So, super dark whiskey, crafty nose, big chocolate notes, a little farmy. But as far as balance goes, it's actually a fairly balanced whiskey. Like... This is a level of craft that I'm okay with. It's not too much leaning into the barnyard, manure, soil type thing. Ooh, nuttier than I thought it was going to be. Way nuttier. I mean, like, that's very distinct peanut butter on that. That didn't smell at all that way. Wow. Okay, so I'm not going to make all my guesses up front. I'm just going to kind of once over this one because I have to come back. I'm confused as hell now. This reminds me of Old Stubborn Batch 1 a little bit. Like with the peanut note, but it's not as dry as Old Stubborn Batch 1 as far as the peanut shell goes. This is like creamy peanut butter, but I didn't even notice it at all at first. Now when I come back to the nose, I can smell it. But look at that freaking color. Yeah, it's a little crafty up front. It immediately, though, evolves into like Hershey with almond bars. Like, it's Snickersy, rich, like really rich sweet cinnamon notes, not overly spicy. That's a really good whiskey. I don't know what that is, and the age could be 5 years old, or it could be 4 years old, or it could be 10 years old. I could see it going a lot of ways. So I got to come back to that. If I keep sipping on that, that's going to kind of blow my palate out for what's coming next. Maybe. We'll see. On the first day of Christmas, Drums and Drams gave to me a laser code ending in 23. Ah, that's funny. Oh, God. 12 drams of Christmas, says Terry. 12 days of the little drammer boy, says Travis. 12 drams of Christmas works the best. That's what I think too, Jesse. Yeah. All right. So this is much less dark, but it's still pretty dark. The other one was just absurdly dark. This is a very different profile. So let me show you what's in glass B now. I'll talk about it. Move the mic over here. All right, so this has a dark honey kind of base profile to it, but it also feels high rye. Like, could be a rye whiskey, could be a high rye bourbon. Because it's crawling up my nose with pepper spice. And it's floral, too. Yeah, something like perfumey about this. Kind of Four Roses-y. Because, some of the Four Roses stuff that I've had can give me a little toothpaste mint sensation. This might have a little bit of that. This could also just be a rye whiskey. I have no idea where this is from. This is tough. All right. I'm going to just do first impressions now. I'm not going to sit with these too long. Let's go to glass C. Ooh, spilling it all over my face. Well, shouldn't have said that. All right, here we go. Glass C. This has an interesting similarity to glass B, actually. There's a strawberry note in here. But it still has kind of that honey. This is a little bit of a brighter honey, I would say. Still effervescent, kind of crawling up my nose with pepper spice. Sometimes in a blind flight, there's kind of the blind flight effect where things start to just run together and they're not distinguishable. Then you go through it one time and it's confusing. Then you go back through and everything starts to make a lot more sense. That could be what's about to happen. Interestingly, I never look at the legs on glasses. I think it's a silly thing to do most of the time. This is a oily freaking whiskey. The way that it's sticking to the side of the glass, like as I look down and see it, the way the light catches it, it looks pretty wild. I really like that. I really like glass C. Kind of has a little youthful note to it, but then on the other end of things, it tastes really old. So I don't know. Let me go. Yeah, B is that darker honey. Slightly medicinal, like Robitussin-y, cherry kind of note on B. And then C. Oh, C smells like old MGP or old Four Roses. Something along those lines is what I'm getting off of C. All right, let's go to D now. All of these pretty, solid colors. A just being a freak of nature. Frank, does Kings County classify as crafty? I think Kings County tastes pretty crafty to me. But not all of it, because I've had some, they have different barrel sizes, and on some of the blends, they'll show you what the different barrel sizes are and the percentages. And some of those blends with larger format barrels do not taste that crafty. Okay. Glass D. Here we go. Let me show you what's in this one. All right. First impression right off the rip was bubblegum. It's a bubblegum and green apple Jolly Rancher. Very, very proofy on the nose. Very proofy on the palate. Not my favorite. Man, it is huge bubblegum notes. That's all I can taste is spicy bubble gum. It's very familiar to me. I wonder if those 3 in a row, like, I've got 4 roses in my brain right now because of these last 3 glasses. So I'm gonna have to start narrowing down some guesses now. Randall Erickson, what's up, man? Crap. Get you up here. Happy holidays to you and the family. Appreciate it. And same to you, man. This year, I decided I'm not taking any freelance work. Like, Christmas, like church gigs pop up and with other smaller orchestras come in and sub and all that. And those can run you up to Christmas, essentially. You do Christmas Eve services. You can do all sorts of stuff to try to make some extra income. But this year I just decided I want to actually, once Monday hits and I'm off work, I just want to be home, and hang out with Sarah and have some dedicated time. Or I could just do drums and drams during the day and hang out with Sarah and, trying to reprioritize a few things in life right now. Let's put it that way. So thanks for the super chat, man. All right. Wow, A smells very crafty now as I kind of go back to this. Dude, what is D? D is just bubblegum. Bubblegum and yeast. Almost like an MGP yeast. You know what? D might be young MGP. The proof is like 130. And you know what? Like the bubblegum thing, sometimes I'll say this note and people hate when I say this, the urinal cake note. That's kind of what I'm getting on D. Trying to think of like young MGP that I've got at this proof. Like the thing is, I feel like that's 130 proof. And so I could try to guess based on my other guesses or try to just guess on and kind of shoot around a little bit. But if I am going to try to bottle guess on that, then I have to square 130 proof MGP with the profile. That's very tough. But I do think that's MG because the yeast note. So let me go to C now. So these are starting to run together, B, C, and D, because I often will get 4 roses and MGP mixed up depending, on what they are in a blind. Especially older, like younger MGP yeast notes tend to stand out. Like if D is, in fact, younger MGP, then that I'll feel good about being able to identify that. C is awesome on the nose. I wonder if that's like. I wonder if that's like Remus Gatsby from last year, because it smells like Gatsby to me. It's very, very reserved on the palate, though. Almost flat. Let's see. Did I miss a super chat here? Jeremy, what's up, man? Thank you. Says, Merry Christmas, Cam. Was super fun having virtual pours with you last week. And likewise, dude. I think the next day I was suffering pretty bad after that, because I don't think I was understanding how hard I was going. So, did I miss another one? I did not. All right. Sorry, I'm in my head right now, guys. I'm not going to look at the chat too much. Just let me get through this blind. Okay. I'm going to go back to B now. Let me remind you what's in glass B. Remember, no spoilers, even though I'm not going to look at this very much right now. Oh, so B is now... See, and this is why you go through the blind all the way. Because, assuming in the blind that you're going to have mostly different distilleries, for some reason when you go through the first time, they can really run together. But now that I've gone through this, and I have an idea in my brain of D being younger MGP, if that's my baseline, then I can go back now and compare that thought and profile to these other ones, and it starts to separate them out a little bit. So B, this is starting to get this buttery component to it that almost reminds me of like Heaven Hill. That's very good. B. The proof is weird. Like 112 or something. The proof is hard to pin down on this. It doesn't have a lot of spice development. Oh man, I really feel like that's Heaven Hill. I don't think A is crafty enough to be like a Garrison Brothers. I'm going to say, I think distillery-wise, we've got Detling, Heaven Hill. If it's Heaven Hill, it's like not a very nutty Heaven Hill, but it's a little bit there. What else could that be? Let's just go. Yeah, it's a little nuttiness, but it's so creamy. So you're like, it can't be Beam. Beam is never a creamy peanut butter. I'm going to say Detling, Heaven Hill. C, Old MGP, Nutty Almond MGP. So that makes me think pretty high age, 15 years. And D is probably, what did I say, Young MGP. At a very high proof. All right, so those are my kind of general guesses. Now let me go through and narrow these down 100%. Urinal cake, urinal cake note is wild, but accurate. Yellowstone Toad-Eyed had that exact note. I think it's a real thing, unfortunately, for all of us. The one that had it the most was New Riff 8-year single malt. That one had a urinal cake note like no other. Like you freaking sprinkled black pepper on a urinal cake. That's what that whiskey tasted like. Joe, so tonight I found out that I like gum on urinal cakes. Dude, what is this? It's deceptive. Like Glass D in part feels old. Like at the outset when I first smell it, and then the more time I spend with it, I'm like, I get that yeasty young MGP sensation. That's a hot potato. I mean, that's... I don't know what that could be. Like... 100. If I'm just wrong about my baseline guesses on this, then everything I'm saying right now isn't worth it. But 130 proof MGP bourbon at this age, at a young age. The only thing I can think of is Smoke Eye Hill. I don't know. C has got to be Old MGP. All right. I have no idea what these are. What are you guys saying? Michael... Mike Hogan, let's see. Missed both drops of Opus 1 and Coda. Super pissed, but only myself. Loving the Crittendens. So you got the Crittendens in today, then? Yeah, I'd be interested to hear what you think of them, man. Sounds like you like them, but I thought those barrels were very, very good, especially for the price. New Riff catching strays. No, I just did. I love New Riff. Especially the older, like the 8-year bourbon's great, but the single malt was not my jam. There's too much going on in that one. Whiskey Rambler, in for some more here. One entry says, wouldn't call it cake if you weren't meant to enjoy it. Yeah, Max, you said Toad-Eyed, and I'm like, I don't know if that's a release I don't know. Toasted, there you go. Steven says, maybe call it. Oh, I thought you were saying be done with this. I'm like, oh, geez. Maybe call it lemon cake to be subtle. All right, let's go to Glass B. This Glass B, like I said, I'm getting this buttery thing on here. kind of tastes like a dusty. I think everything I initially said about B on the nose is probably wrong. God. Nick, this flight is hard. Are you here, Nick? There he is, actually. Yeah, glad you're having fun with this one. God. I gotta just make some guesses and get out of this. I gotta be done with this and move on because I'm just digging myself into a ditch right now. All right, so A, here we go. Now it smells very, very crafty. The coffee on this is crazy. I'm going to go with my initial guess and say this is Detling. I'm going to say it's 114. 114? I'm going to say 115 proof. I'm going to say 4.5 years old. So there's that. I think it's a bourbon. Let's move on. Some guys are some people are getting their Crittendens delivered already, guys. Mine's gonna get here tomorrow. Like it shipped out. Like we bought them on Tuesday, and they shipped out last night. Is when everybody's thing updated and said, you know, it's on the way. And then everybody close to the warehouse got theirs delivered today. And I'm going to get mine. I'm in Ohio tomorrow. So 2 days. Glass A could be like, it's so coffee. Could if it's a stout finished bourbon. Excuse me. Jeez, I got these belches. I'm sorry. I wouldn't be surprised if that's like a stout finish. I mean, it's that much coffee. I'm not going to say that it is. I think it's just a straight up Detling bourbon at 4.5 years old. Let's just say that. Glass B. Let's lock this in. So here's the pour again. This one is very hard. This buttery, slightly creamy peanut butter thing in here, which I didn't detect at the first time because I'm coming off of whatever Glass A was, which had some nuttiness to it that I didn't get on the nose, got it on the palate. It blew my palate out. Go to B. I can't pick up the nuttiness on this and this creamy peanut butter thing because I'm coming off of A, which was strong. I have no idea what this is. Like, this could be a Green River pick. If it's Heaven Hill, I don't know, but it kind of tastes dusty. Like, there's a lot of things this could be based on that creamy note is what I'm focused in on that's giving me trouble on this. There's something on this that's dusty. I gotta just say this is a dusty. But the proof nothing makes sense about this pour. The proof being one of them. I want to say this is from National Distillers. I don't know why. I'm going to just let this rip. This is a very random guess. I'm going to have... Okay, let me have a crazy guess and then have a regular guess. It's not a dusty. Come on. I got to come back to that. I don't know what the... Oh, Nick, you're killing me, dude. All right, Glass C one more time. Let me show you guys. This is a very hard blind flight. It's crazy that these smelled so similar, B through D at the outset. That's crazy to me because they don't smell similar now at all. All right. Two guesses. Who's making these rules? What's funny about that's so good. What's funny about this is the sequencing fucks you up really, really bad in this flight. Coming off of glass 1 destroys your palate. It hides the subtleties of glass 2. Then 2, from a proof perspective, is destroying glass 3 and hiding the what I imagine is a very high age of glass 3. And then 3 to 4, it feels like to me I'm going from the lowest proof and oldest of the bunch to the youngest, perhaps, and the highest proof of the bunch for sure. So the sequencing of this flight is horrible, like in a good way. I'm just trying to think of like the proof of C, which will help me determine a bottle guess. It could be 100, could be 107. I'm going to say it's 108 MGP. God. I'm going to say it's 15. Bottle guess. I mean, the best bottle guess I have with those stats is a Rebecca Creek 16. So I'll just say that. All right, D. Let's go to D. The only thing that tracks for D, that proof is crazy. I'm going to call that 130. I'm going to call that 131. And that will track with my guess. I'm just going to guess that's Smoke Eye Hill. So I think Smoke Eye Hill, it's blue corn, which feels older than it is, but it still had the yeasty note of young MGP. The proof tracks, and blue corn adds a fullness to the palate, which can confuse you for age. And the last thing I need to guess is glass B, coming off 130 now, so my shit's going to be rocked. I'm going to let my palate calm down and grab these 2 super chats in here, then we'll get onto the Venmos again, I promise, guys. Steven says, we'll give it to Steven if I win. You selfish son of... No, I'm kidding. That's funny. Okay. Is this the same? No. Is it the same? This is not the same super chat. Thanks, man. Jumping in for another one. Did you hear Bill Thomas of Jack Rose in DC Bottled Carter? He's awesome. Will be good for the brand. So yeah, I saw that he came in as a partial owner with Mark Carter after the divorce. I think bringing someone else in. It sounded like he had partners already in Old Carter that jumped back into it with him, but I don't know that Jack Rose was initially. So interested to see what they do. And Mark Carter was quoted as saying something like he's excited to make it like a nationwide or national brand, whatever he said, which was hinting at expansion. That's kind of the way that I read it. All right. Glass B. Calm down now. I don't want to drink the rest of this trying to decide what it is because I want to have another sip knowing what it is. All right. I'm trying to think about proof. What I'm going to do is take a sip of that, a sip of C, which I've guessed proof on now. C's higher proof. Higher than I thought. Nick, I'm gonna lose so bad on this blind, dude. I'll go back to B. It's not that high. Sorry, I'm in my head right now. All right, let me tell you what my initial guess was. Let's just do this. All right. So favorite to least favorite. I think this is a tie between B and C for me. I'm going to call it a tie, B and C, because these profiles are so different, and I like them both equally. And then, to me, Glass A is in third, and D is in fourth. All right, so Glass A, I think this is a Detling, 115 proof, 4.5-year bourbon. Sorry, I'm excited about this. It's a Detling store pick, 50 months old. I said 4.5 years old. So I'm a couple I'm like 4 months off. 115 proof. I said it's 113. So there you go. I will freaking take that. That one, I don't want to say that one was easier, but like immediately, I mean, actually, when I poured these out, before I showed you anything, I said I could see this being a Detling as soon as I smelled it. All right, I'll take that. Now, B, this is a biatch. I bounced between low proof Heaven Hill. I was going like Henry McKenna. Is there a Parker's at this proof? Like it's better than McKenna. And then I'm like, well, it kind of has a dusty note. It has like it has this thing that reminded me of National Distillers, but then as I go back to it, it doesn't have National Distillers. And so to me, all I have on this is it's 100 proof dusty bourbon. Let me take one more sip. I'll finalize the guess right now. It's the last sip. Kind of feels higher than 100 now. Let's bump the guess to 104. I have no idea what this is. All right. That's good. That's whoever said they were going to send that earlier. That's good. This is interesting now. The butteriness in that. It's there. This is getting interesting now. Remember in the beginning when I said I thought that was a fucking pardon my language, high rye bourbon, and I was like, maybe this is a Four Roses or something. I'm getting this mintiness and all this shit. And then I completely went against everything and I landed in dusty bourbon. What am I doing? All right. Anyways, 36 rye, 10-year MGP, 108 proof, Penelope Estate single barrel. That's really good. They are single barrels. Your mileage may vary. Now, this could track moving down the line because I said B to D all felt like they had similarities, which would be that they're all MGP, which I believe now that they are because I thought this was the outlier. So glass C, I said this was 108 proof. So I think I was probably low. In my head, I was bouncing between 108 proof and 116, and I don't know why I'm going between those. But my initial guess was 108, so we got to stick with it. 15 years old. Then I had to guess it was a Rebecca Creek 16 year. So I don't know what exactly this is. Let's see. Wow, this is weird. So it is 15 years old. Proof is shit. It's 108. So listen, stats wise, I'll take this. There's no way on God's green earth this is Beam. I will bet a lot of money on this that this is not Beam. So Nick, do you have the bottle of this? And if you do, does it say Indiana on the back? Because there's no way this on the nose. Like, if I'm wrong, then my nose, I need to like revisit some stuff if this is Beam. Because if it's the toted stuff, if it's the, 7.5 corn, that stuff could get off profile, but it is Kentucky. No shit. Maybe it's Barton. But Bull Run in 2021 was sourcing the Beam totes. Dude, because I'll mix up Barton and MGP, especially as it gets older. Dude, there's no way that is the Beam totes. Wow. I didn't know you could get that profile out of those. Like, I feel like the Beam totes all kind of had a singular profile. That's crazy then. Hang on, that's sample C. I gotta pour this back and do some R&D on this with some other things. Nick says I wouldn't believe it either. Like, as far as stats go, I literally guessed the stats perfectly, which is hilarious, but I thought MGP for sure. I can see it a little. But remember what I said. In the blind, I said it's got that almond note. And that almond note points me to MGP. But if I'm picking up any nuttiness, I have to then be open to the fact that it could be Beam. I've got my labels with me here because, if I don't label these right away, this is what I've learned. I'll have a bunch of random samples lying around and I don't know what they are. This is the Bull Run 15 108 proof from Nick. I've got to look into this and put it next to another, mystery mash thing. Well, look, actually, you know what? As far as this blind goes, Glass B, I really fucked up because I overthought Glass B. And that's a testament to the fact that Penelope on this single barrel, they killed it. It's a very good single barrel. Glass D, I said Smoke Eye Hill. 131 proof. It had this young and old thing, bubblegum, yeast, a lot of different things to it. Okay. Boulder Cask, this tracks. Boulder Cask Strength 2023. I smell it now. That little banana thing, which I didn't pick up before. But let me make an excuse very quickly. So, Jack Daniels, really any Brown-Forman product, but especially Jack Daniels and Old Forester, have that yeast note to them. I guess Woodford does too. That yeastiness and the banana note is associated with all of those brands. And so sometimes when you get these yeast notes, which I picked up on this, which I would 100% say is there on Boulder, you also get this kind of banana thing. And so the connection from Boulder Cask Strength, which I think is very banana heavy, and I didn't pick it up, and I should have, the connection between this and its banana note to what I guessed was Smoke Eye Hill and its yeast note is the yeast to banana connection that I get in Brown-Forman products. 134 proof, I said 131. I didn't guess an age on this. I would have guessed 5 or 6. I don't know what Boulder Cask Strength is, but to go along with my Smoke Eye Hill guess, which I thought was 5 and 6 years old or something along those lines. I would have guessed that. But Boulder cask strength, the note that this has that should help me identify it, is this almost Lincoln County process charcoal note that it has on the nose. And I didn't pick that up. So, great blind, Nick. Hard blind. Very, very hard blind. Stats-wise, I did pretty good on the stats. Couple good guesses in here, you know, on like the Detling was a good guess, but stats-wise, I feel good. Bottle guesses were rough. Nick says I think it's close. I think it's 6. Okay, so it is 6 year. Yeah, so it would have been right in line. Derek, I'm telling you, man, this bull run. Hang on. Let's just test this. So what I'm going to do, this is a 15-year Beam store pick, actually 15 and a half. It's an amazing pick, by the way. I'm just going to rinse the glass with it and pour it back. And put the empty rinsed glass next to the other empty glass and see what these smell like. Sometimes an empty glass can help you pick out notes on the nose. No, it's Beam. Yeah, I can smell it now. And I think what it is, I mean, like these older Knob Creek picks, they don't have the Beam nuttiness. I mean, at that age, they turn into something a little bit different. So this is the Beam pick, or the Knob Creek pick, I should say. And this is the Bull Run. Yeah, completely related. That is something that I would need to work on. And it's a testament to, in my opinion, how good old Knob Creek and old Beam products can be. Hardin's Creek leans in a little different direction than I think this profile. But this Bull Run is awesome. And all of those old store picks from Knob Creek are awesome, too. Jacob, I haven't had the bourbon haystack. Only the rye, which I haven't had yet. I'm going to taste it here in a second on the stream. Got to get into this from Scott. Thank you, Scott, for sending this my way. But we're going to get into this one. I don't think I have... No, I don't have anybody sending me a sample of the... I'm trying to think, because there's a lot of samples incoming right now. I don't think I have an incoming sample of the bourbon haystack needle that is their own distillate. Because now they've moved away from sourcing from MGP for the haystack needle line, and they're doing their own stuff at 8 years old, which I think is cool, but the price is still high on these. So we'll see how it... we'll see how this all kind of comes together here. We still got to get to the Jack Daniels Coy Hill. So we'll do that in a second. God, that blind was tough. Very, very tough. But the Bull Run is the star of the show. Penelope Estate, total shock. And the Detling... the Detling doesn't convince me, Nick, to want to do a pick. I mean, I know the waiting list is crazy at this point. All right, so real quick, we've had up to 200 people in here at this point, which is great. Very quickly, let me remind everybody, number one, please hit that like button if you haven't already. We're deep in the stream, hour and 40 minutes. We're going to keep going. I've got a couple more things to taste tonight. Let me check. So the Spirit Walker and the Redwood and the Jack. So literally 3 of the 5 things on the thumbnail. But I think otherwise we've gone through everything. Like all the samples that I wanted to get through this evening. We've got 2 giveaways tonight. Number one, you see scrolling along the bottom of your screen, and you can find those samples. 2 winners tonight for this 12-pour sample giveaway. That's going to be in the description of the video. Heaven Hill 17, Russell's 15. Both of our Buffalo Turkey picks. The Bard at 133 proof and the Princess at 121. Those are 15 and 16 years old. Opus 1, Opus 2 are limited editions from, fall-ish, winter-ish 2024. There's some other stuff in there. Remus Gatsby 24, some unreleased barrel picks. You can find that in the description of the video. And then also the other giveaway we're doing is for non-Patreon members. If you are not a Patreon member, there's a Google form link in the description underneath all the stuff I just mentioned previous. You can sign up for that. You're going to be entered to win a bottle of the Backbone Irish pick that we just did, as well as a sample pack of recent Drums and Drams picks. So there you go. Infomercial done. That's the last infomercial of the night, I promise. Clay, yeah, I will. What I want to do first before I talk to them or send them an email about a barrel pick is I would like to taste somebody's pick, because I haven't had the rye bourbon yet. So I need to taste a few samples from other people before I reach out, because if I reach out for a barrel pick, I want to know that I want to do a pick there. The Jimmy Red 7-year was great. A little different, you know, and I think that would be cool at cask strength, although I'm not sure that they're doing that in the pick program. So I need to taste the rye bourbon first, but I would like to do it if it works out. Johnny Utah, a.k.a. Tasty Num Num, says, if you're running behind, you can wait on the sample you were going to do. I might do that, man. Running behind and also starting to, you know, we're at that point in the evening. Okay, let's do this now. If I've missed any super chats, please let me know. Oh, I did. I actually did. There we go. Terry Powers, thank you, man. This is for the new house fund. Buy one of the old school front door mats made from recycled rubber tire links. They are freaking awesome. That's very specific, but also probably very good advice. Thank you, man. All right, in for 4. I think that's it. And now let me go back to Venmo and keep getting caught up here. Next up is Marshall. Let me grab like 5 of these. All right. Marshall is in for 5. Thanks, man. Loving the positive vibes on the Crittendens so far. 2 more to drop soon, but we picked some bangers. So Marshall was on the Crittendens pick. And yeah, we've gotten some really good feedback so far on the barrels that we dropped the other day. Actually, 2 days ago. People have been receiving them today. And it seems like it's been a pretty positive consensus, which is always good to hear. Mike says, thanks for the great pepper finish on the Year of the Rye. I'm glad you like it, man. All right, a couple more. Travis, in for 1, says, here's for the long shot. If I win, I'll send you a gift. All right, man. Jason Zell with a monster super chat, in for 20 entries, $100 super chat. Cheers, Cam. Thanks for the assist on the Watershed Nocino. I need to go get that, man. Let me write that down so I don't forget. Goodness. I can make that happen in the next couple of days here. I just need to check their hours in the bottle shop. Dude, thank you for the super chat. And let me do one more. Mike C., Mike Conklin. In for 4 says Scotch reimbursement fund. Thanks, man. Although you're the one that spent money today and you didn't need to, or you maybe weren't intending to. All right. JB says, just picked up the Sealbox 10 double oaked. Anyone else try it? I think I've tried that one. What do you guys think, if anybody has? Steven, how often are you in Texas? Will the pick coming up be a while before you come back? Yeah, it'll be a while before I come back. I was there in July. I'll be there January, and I have no return date after that. Yeah, EH Tater, I dropped a couple F-bombs. I'll dial it back now. Toshi, I'll check out the PayPal here in a sec. PayPal, I don't get voice crack. Let's just move on. I'll get to it, Toshi. All right, so now pretty good color. Let's go on to this rye whiskey from Redwood Empire. This is a Haystack Needle single barrel. Scott, thank you again for this sample. 8 years, 90% rye, very high rye, 5% wheat, and 5% malted barley. So take a 95.5 MGP rye, but make it 95.5. And the middle 5 is now wheat. which is a pretty neutral grain. So to include that is, like, that's got to be an intentional choice. That is a heck of a nose. Noah says, nearing saturation level. Me too, man. We've got, let's see, 2 more pours after this. Well, we'll do Spirit Walker too. So 3 more pours this evening. All right. So the Redwood Empire on the nose. Yeah, it almost smells port finish to me. Like the Evernorth Arctic Spirit, like I could mistake these in a blind. That's how fruity this is on the nose. It also has, I said this about the Penelope that was in the blind. I said it has like a buttery component to it. This has like a buttercream thing going on. It's like buttercream and port-soaked fruits or something. I can't believe this is not finished. Because I know the other haystacks were finished. So my curiosity now is like, let me zoom in on this picture. Yeah, no, they're not finished. I cannot believe that's not finished. Wow. All right, here we go. That is very good. I cannot believe that's a rye whiskey. Long finish. Incredibly spicy palate. Like the palate lets you know it's a rye. It's only 124.2 proof, this particular single barrel. But the palate drinks like 135 proof. Wow. That, if all the barrels coming out of this barrel program are like this, even though this is very expensive, I think it's like $130. Let me look it up real quick. Yeah, these are probably going to be overpriced some places. So $150, $130. Okay, so it looks to be around $130 to $140. $150 is probably a little overpriced on these online retailers. Yeah, K&L has it for $130. You know what? At $130, you can argue that this is overpriced. I don't know that this is overpriced as far as experience goes. If you know the age, if you know the stats of this, you might go, why is this $130? If you had this blind, you might say, I would pay $150 for this. Like this is, I mean, I didn't know what I expected from their own distillate at this proof and this age, but I'm very shocked by this. I want to taste more of these single barrels. And I don't know how the pick program goes, if it's hard to get into this pick program and do this. But if someone came to me and said, hey, do you want to do a pick of this? After this one sample, I would say yes. At this price, given the profile of this one sample, I would do a pick of this. Because, I mean, but also, like, this is 124 proof. Noah says he tried a 109 bourbon pick, thought it was okay. Yeah, I mean, maybe lower proof is not as good. They aren't picks, I believe. Oh, no, this says K&L pick. This says it's a K&L pick. That's very good. All right, so listen, should that be $100? Maybe yes. Even so, if I saw that on a shelf, I would be tempted to pick that up even at $130. I would not pay more than 130. Just the stats and me trying to be a stickler, I guess. Maybe I don't pay over that, but I do think that's a really, really good bottle. All right, so there's that. Now we are going to do... Let's do Spirit Walker, and then we're going to end with the Coy Hill. Yeah, that's different. Frank said Total Wine had a Jimmy Red pick around 120. Jeez, 120 is a lot. But, you know, I mean, the 7-year weeded is a lot, I think, at 130. And the picks are going to be cask strength. I mean, I just think they need to bring prices down if they can. I know the corn situation and the transparency and the, you know, what do you call that? Conservancy? Conservation? Is conservancy a word? I don't know. But the conservation stuff that they're doing, like, all that is great. Even still, though, the price point is a little high. Wow. Michael says, just watch your take on Penelope 9-year. Interesting because Breaking Bourbon and Drink Hacker rated it pretty high. I don't know anything about Drink Hacker. I don't know who's writing over there. Breaking Bourbon. Yeah, Breaking Bourbon, I agree. Like, if they come out and say, hey, this is like 4.5 barrels, 80% of the time, I'm with them on that. But I would not agree with them on this. I mean, put the Penelope 9-year, but, like, listen, just put it up against the 10-year, and you'll be like, this is not a comparison. But put it up against any other MGP pick that's 8 to 11 years old in the price range. I just don't think it competes. I think that 10-year is awesome. But is conservancy a word? Like, conservation, but whatever usage I was trying to to put that into a few minutes ago, yeah. Conservancy felt like it was real for a second, you know, fleeting. Okay, Spirit Walker, which is right. Experimental mash bills from Sagamore, finished in blackberry brandy, raspberry brandy, and Madagascar vanilla barrels. That vanilla barrel was awesome. I did try that when I was there. Proof. What is the proof? 110? Conservancy is a word. Let's go. Hey, Pink Dan. Hey, Pink Dan. You want to eat your words? Actually, you really didn't say that it wasn't a word. You were just giving me crap for asking. Although you spelled it wrong, if I'm being grammar police here. All right, so Spirit Walker 3, the Cobbler, smells very finished. And, like, I've probably tasted 25 Good Times picks. And you guys know what's going on. Like, everybody talks about Good Times and all the speculation. I have no idea what's true or what's not, but I know that the profile of Good Times tastes essentially like flavored whiskey. This reminds me of that, but in a more true to whiskey, like in a more true to whiskey form than Good Times, which legitimately tastes like flavored whiskey. This does smell like blackberry and raspberry brandy. I think the raspberry is a little stronger on the nose. And the vanilla barrel in here doesn't come out so much. Like, I can sense that it's there, that it's lifting the sweetness level. There's also a tinge of rubberiness to this, which I think is kind of interesting. I don't know if there's any wave stave or anything added into this, but it smells like dessert. It smells like something I want to drink when I want sweet whiskey or just a dessert pour, generally speaking. Oh, shit. It's like, it's just dessert. But can I be honest? I would much rather drink this, and I'm biased. I like I love Dan and Sean and Brandon and everybody up there in Michigan. I'm biased. I would much rather drink this, which tastes like a legitimately finished whiskey, than I would, drink Good Times or anything else that's speculated about and or flavored. I would much rather have this. This is a very solid dessert whiskey. If you had this with like chocolate cake or creme brulee or a cheesecake, I think it would be amazing. So, you guys are going hard in the chat. That's funny. All right, last pour of the night from Jason. Jason H in the chat. This is Jack Daniel's Coy Hill 2024. It is 123.3 proof. That's a pretty normal proof for the newest edition of Jack Daniel's Coy Hill this year. The older ones were up to 147 or something like that. I think the highest proof this year is like 133 maybe. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But they do get pretty low this year because they are pulled from lower floors in the rick house. All right. I think we're caught up in the chat as far as super chats go. Let me now check. Where was I at? All right, Scott. Let me grab a few more super chats as this Jack Daniel's kind of gets some air. And then we'll get into this last tasting. We're going to cut the giveaway off. Both giveaways. So the Google form for non-Patreon members in the description. I will shut off responses to that. And we'll cut everything off at 11:10. So that's in 8 minutes. Scott. I'm just going to put Scott VK for this one. In for 2. Scott said, damn, cheers, everyone. Just closed work, laptop, and opening Booker's 24 Reserve. I like that bottle. Congrats on all the picks being snagged. Thank you, Scott. Yeah, we did sell out of the Crittendens today, this morning. I don't know where it got posted, but wherever it did get posted or something happened, and we sold 15 bottles like very quickly and sold out. I don't know if it was a Discord group or something else, Facebook group, but somebody must have posted it somewhere. Leo says, I love samples. In for 3. Thanks, Leo. All right, Mali in for 4 entries. Stuck at work till 1 a.m. Please make sure the live stream lasts till 1 a.m. We're not that close tonight, thankfully. Thankfully, we're not that close. Hope you get home and maybe have a pour before bed. Maybe not, though. 1 a.m. is pretty late. Jeb Singleton. Let's do 2 more. Jeb is in for 0 entries. That's a $1 super chat, Jeb. Heard you're streaming. My contribution to Scotch Sunday with $1. All right, Jeb. We'll just skip over you. See you next month. Guy in for 20 entries. Nothing beats a Drums and Drams live stream. Cheers, man. Thank you, Guy. We're deep in it now, and I'm feeling it. We're at that point. Thank you, man. 20 entries. Cheers. I'm going to nose this before I sip it, but cheers, man. Andrew Patrick says, Dan and Sean are cocktail producers. Yes, they are now. Yes, they are. Mark Vasco, what's up, dude? Good to see you jumping in here. Jeremy in for another one in the chat. They got you there. Here's my here's my Google survey money. In for 1 more. Awesome. One at the top. You guys are funny. Let's see. How many more? We have a few more entries. All right. Let me do like 2 more here, guys. Sorry. I just want to get caught up. I haven't done PayPal yet, but I will. Avery is in for 2. Thanks for trying these great bottles. Excited for a chance to try some of these samples. Thanks for the great picks. Keep it up. Thank you, Avery. Appreciate you, man. Finally, Larry B in for 2 says nuttier than I thought it would be. Okay, let's do the Jack Daniel's We are cutting the giveaway off in 6 minutes. Just a reminder. Steven in for 2 more. Thanks, man. Says, why not? Again, this Coy Hill is 123.3. All right. On the nose, this is nothing like the Coy Hills of 2021 or the smaller bottles whenever those came out. This is more banana forward. And when I say that, that might freak people out a little bit. It's not as banana forward as like a normal Jack pick, whether that's Tennessee whiskey or rye whiskey. This is somewhere between those picks and, let's just say, Coy Hill from 2021 in terms of how much banana there is. There is some, but it's really kind of torched, you know, like a little burnt, molassesy, brown sugar. It's more in that vein with banana as kind of like an accompaniment or an accent on top. Yeah, definitely like dark chocolate notes in here. A little bit of a boozy cherry kind of thing, too. All right, let's go to the palate. All right, so front of the palate, the yeast note that you get on Brown-Forman products. It's a little brighter, a little more spicy. Yeah, it almost feels younger on the front of the palate because of that yeast note. But as it starts to develop, it gets darker, more molasses, brown sugar. Again, like the boozy cherry thing, I don't know if that's a silly note or not, but it's kind of what I'm getting. Like as it rolls back, front of the palate, bright, yeasty, kind of, yeah, Bananas Foster thing. Mid palate, darker, richer, molasses, sweet. As it gets into the finish is actually pretty nice. The finish is the oldest sensation of the entire experience, right? Front of the palate feels the youngest. The finish feels the oldest. So essentially, as you drink this whiskey, it feels like you're going from young to old. That said, would this compete with 2021 Coy Hill? No. And it's not really close, in my opinion. Like, I could go grab my 2021. I could go side by side. I don't think it's worth doing that, you know, at this point, especially this late in the night. This is very good. And especially at SRP, this is going to be very good. Let's do another sip. Second sip actually feels darker on the front. A little bit more dark fruit. Still some yeast note, some you know, slightly more youthful notes, but it goes away a little quicker on the second sip. Mid palate, same thing as the front. Darker fruit notes. Kind of like a sour grape type sensation. Into the finish. Yeah. So I actually think this gets better as I sip it. In most whiskeys, I think you acclimate to them quickly and they get flatter, more easy sipping as you take subsequent sips. This one, it feels like it gets deeper, richer, and more complex as I sip it. So that's a positive quality of this. That said, would I pay secondary for this bottle? Not in a million years. But when I look at the 2021 Coy Hill, which those are freak barrels, it's a different story. I think those are worth a lot of money compared to what other things go for on secondary. I could see those being upcharged, quite a bit. Not to the point they are today. Some of those are going for like $800 to $1,000-ish, depending on the proof. They've climbed, certainly, but they're not worth that. But those older Coy Hills, to me, you pay a couple $100 and you don't feel bad about it. For this one, this is like up to $125 in my book. This is not something to go spend $500 on, I would say. Lynn says, is it the proof that makes the difference? Maybe. I mean, positioning in the rick house, the proof is not just a number. It's not just an intensity level. It's also an extraction level to some degree of flavor from the oak. You know, the higher you go, the higher the extraction. In this case, it's going to be higher, you know, higher proof as well. So, sort of, yes. Yeah, and they are single barrels. So, Eric says, could some of the higher proof ones be that much different? From each other, I don't know. I've never done like a side-by-side of, let's say, 5 high proof and 5 low proof. That would be an interesting experiment. But generally speaking, well, I can't say that because I've only had, this is the only low proof Coy Hill I've had. So maybe this is an outlier. It's a single barrel, but this differs sharply from the 140 proof, you know, 2021 version I have back there. All right, guys. So giveaway is cut off. We are done. And I'm going to shut off the Google form now. Let me find it in my lineup here. Although I need to shut off responses. How do I shut off responses? Well, geez. Am I an idiot? I've done this before. Okay, I'm just going to download the Google... how do you shut off responses to a Google form? So this is going to be done. I will get the rest of the Venmos and the PayPals here in a sec. I feel like an idiot. I thought it was like an option that was very clearly identified on the Google form. Oh, I can unpublish. They changed this. This is not the same place it was last time I did a Google form. All right. No more responses. We are done. There we go. They changed it. You have to click through to get to that now. Let's see. Noah says, Matt Porter has done some blinds where this year's competes with some bangers. What I would ask Noah, though, is, was that a media sample that he got? Because if it was, they should be selecting the best barrel for the media samples. And in that case, it should compete with some of the best of this year. All right. Last couple of super chats here in Venmo. We'll get these in. Lawrence. So, yeah, I think up to 125, maybe 150 for this year's Coy Hill is good. And that's the most I would want to spend. Lawrence in for 2 says, can't wait for the release of Barty Hard and Princess Diaries and Barrel 4. I wish, dude. I freaking wish we got Barrel 4. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, that is a Patreon thing. Eric, You're the Rye better be good. Oh, dude, I hope it is. I hope you like it. Brandy's Johnson in for 6. Giving this a try for the hubby again. Fingers crossed. All right. Fingers crossed. Dan Pack, Dan Pacifico, in for 2. Says, showed up late, but appreciate the reviews. Thank you, man. Lynn is in for 3. Says, Cam. That's my name. All right, Pink Dan. In for 2 entries. Cam, if you're wanting to shift into 5th gear, I can't. Dan, I would, but not tonight. It might be fun to get into the J and K double blind I sent you. Not tonight. Saturation level is high. Bobby H, in for 1, says, spoiler, cheers. Good luck, Bobby. And finally, Stephen S, in for 2, says December 12th. All right, last thing we're going to do is check PayPal. Holy crap. What is going on here? Oh, geez. Toshi in with a $100 super chat. Says good content to keep me busy during dishes. He was doing the dishes earlier. Toshi with 20 entries. Thank you, dude. $100 super chat. Dan Hooper says, give me them samples for 5 entries. And finally, Mr. BL Brewing Co. Brian, who super chatted earlier with $100 in the live chat. 80 via PayPal says, here's the money YouTube took plus some. Take the wife to dinner. Thank you, man. I'll put you back in as BL Brewing Co. And I'll do 16. Is it 16 entries? Yeah, it's 16 entries. All right. 2024 King of Kentucky. What's the verdict? The media sample that they sent was not good. I didn't get that. Matt Porter got it. He sent me the other half of his. When I say not good, it's good whiskey. It's not good King of Kentucky based on what they've done over the last, whatever it's been, 5 or 6 years since 2018. All the releases up to this year have been better than this year. This year, for some reason, just fell off a cliff with King of Kentucky. And that was one single barrel. But they chose that single barrel to go to, reviewers and stuff. Not very good. Frank, what barrel house is your JD Rye from? I don't know. It says 1-09. I don't know exactly what that means. 1-09. So let's do this giveaway. I think we are set up now to do it. We got two giveaways to spin for. 2 winners of each. Yeah. All right. Oh, I think I've got one more super chat in the old Venmos. Adam jumped in for 2 entries. All right, we are officially cut off. Jeremy, I know, man. I know. But I want to do a video for that, and I haven't had time to shoot that one. Haven't had time to shoot anything for like 10 days or something. That's a Coy Hill barrel. That's cool. I didn't know that. Okay. Let me share my screen. All right. There you go. So what we're going to do here is, let me see how many entries we have. Steven down to Dan. Dan. We have 3. Well, we could probably do this in two rounds of people checking their stuff here. Well, we'll see. All right, Steven down to Jeremy on these entries. I think that's Jeremy's first entries, perhaps. Here's what we've got. Did Jason enter 2 different times at the very beginning? I think he did. Check your name and your number of entries to the right. Your number of entries is your dollar amount divided by 5, because $5 is 1 entry. So if Steven did 10 entries in the beginning, which he did, times $5 per entry is $50 super chat. To get these 10 entries, his name will populate 10 times over here automatically, and so on and so forth. So if you've entered twice, like Jason, you will see... Oh, sorry about that. You will see your name appear twice with your corresponding super chats. It's not going to be combined. So check for your entries that I didn't make any mistakes. We're only down to Jeremy at this point. We're going to have to do this another time or 2. Take like 30 seconds. If there's any problems, please let me know. And I bumped it, but that's okay because we can still see that. All right. So yeah, this Jack is good. It doesn't feel special to me. The rye release, I think that was 2020, the special release rye, that felt like a special bottle. I haven't had any of the heritage barrel stuff. The double oak rye was solid, but not great. The distillery release was better at 107 proof rather than 100, which is what the wide release was at 100 proof. So I think the best Jack special release I've had so far has been the 2021 Coy Hill. And then if you look at the small batch, the smaller, 375 bottles, ranging from like 144-ish up to like 150 something, those were the best whiskeys that they've probably ever put out, I would say. But that rye release was the thing that I think kicked a lot of people off into their love of Jack Daniels, and myself included. So let's now go down from Mike Hogan. He was on the last run, so now we got Whiskey Rambler down to Toshi. Check your entries, please. Just check your name and your number of entries. Morgan says Jack 12 secondary is higher than the 150. You said Coy Hill is worth. Which do you prefer? I prefer Jack 12. For this Coy Hill. Like this Coy Hill versus Jack 12. Well, that I'll do that a different night. I'm a little deep in right now. That's a good comparison to do. Proof is going to be all over the place. 20 proof point. Well, between these is like 16 proof points because Jack 12's at 107. But I'd probably still take Jack 12. And System Trend says Jack 12 Batch 1 is so good. I completely agree. All right, last little round here. Oh, okay, just 3 more. It was Dan, Brian, and Adam. And I think I got those guys correct. So that would have been all in PayPal. Most of those. Dan and Brian would have been PayPal. All right, we are good. Let's spin this because we still have to do the non-Patreon giveaway. Wow, 274 entries. Good God. Okay, here we go. We're going to spin it 7 times. Top 2 win it. No duplicates. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here we go. 7. Boom. Hey, Brandy's Johnson and Andrew Campbell. There we go. All right. So please email me. Congrats, you two. For this one, we got another one coming up here in a sec. Please email me at drumsanddrams@gmail.com right here. And let me know you won. Send me your address, and I'll get these out to you. Congrats, and thank you, everybody, for your support tonight. Just hanging out, and also, of course, with the Super Chats is amazing as well. And now let's do one more of these. Andrew, did you do any studying to become good at tasting? Yeah, so during COVID, when I was still kind of lamenting my solo percussion career being completely dissolved in one day, literally in one day, I lost every single touring gig I had on the calendar. Every bit of financial stability was gone. It was a pretty wild day in March of 2020. I think it was March 12th that they canceled it all. I'd have to go back and look. So, anyways, when I got into whiskey, it was a little before that, but not in this sense. Once all that happened, and I had a lot of free time on my hands, every night, to my detriment, most nights, let's say most nights, I'd have like 12 glasses all out in a row, and I would just test myself. I'd go down and nose them. I'd watch videos for hours, like literally hours every night. Whiskey.com. I would watch Ralphie because I was a Scotch drinker back then. And I would try to figure out, like, when they say grape, what does that mean when I smell this glass? And I trained myself, just rote memorization and trying to associate what they're saying to what I'm smelling and tasting. And I did that for months and months and months. Every almost every night, right? For hours. And I wasn't even drinking a lot of the time because you can't sustainably drink 50 pours in a night, but I would smell that many. I'd have like a set of 12. I'd go to another set of 12, and I would just nose them. I'd read articles about whiskey. I'd read tasting notes. I'd watch videos. And it was just like a total immersion, nerdy kind of thing that I would do. And eventually I was like, you know what? I should start a channel because I think I can communicate these things as I learn them. But I think, you know, I have a background in teaching, and I thought maybe I'm equipped to communicate these things to people. And I've had bumps and bruises along the way, of course, but like, you're always learning. You're always getting better and learning new notes and ways to talk about whiskey. You get stuck in ruts sometimes. You try to get out of those. But I did put in a whole lot of hours in the beginning of all this. And I think you kind of need to do that. You know, you can't just say, you don't just automatically learn these things. Like, you have to actually put some effort towards it. And I think that effort, no matter what your level is, whether that's, you know, 5% effort or 50% effort, that effort that you put in kind of starts to denote you as a whiskey enthusiast in some ways. Like, I think the people that are just casual drinkers aren't the people that are thinking about whiskey when they're not drinking it in a responsible way. But the people that think about it when they're not even drinking it, whether that's about the market or about notes or about upcoming whiskeys, any amount of effort that goes into it, I think, is what makes you an enthusiast about it, because you're enthusiastic. And that's kind of what I noticed is, like, I casually drank whiskey and I enjoyed it, but the minute that I sat with it and tried to study it and get curious, the first time I did that, I was completely hooked and I knew I had to keep doing it. So, like, it was a shitload of work on my part to actually develop my palate, because up until that point, I had never, like, I would go to wine tastings and I would taste wine with friends at their house. And they'd be like, don't you get this black pepper note on the Syrah? And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. It just tastes like wine. But for me, I think it comes down to effort. Like, the effort and the enthusiasm is what makes you an enthusiast. And then it can kind of snowball from there. Andrew says, you're quite good at it. May I recommend a book, Secrets of a Sommelier? Raj Part will take you. I'll check that out. Let me take a picture of that so I don't forget. All right. All right, last one, guys. Let's do this giveaway real quick. I have to click link to sheets for this. Is it going to pull it up, though? That's the better question. Oh, view in sheets. Okay. And now I will just enter everybody's name from this sheet. You know what I should do? I should just check that there's no duplicate entries. So I'm going to sort this row. Can I sort the row, though? There we go. A to Z. Just make sure there's no duplicates. All right. There's one duplicate. I think we're good. So I'll get everybody's name here entered. We'll do this very quickly because I need to pee. TMI, I know. A couple of blank rows because I deleted a duplicate and deleted someone else making a funny joke. There we go. All right, 7 spins. Top 2 are going to win these prizes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. There we go. So Kevin and Scott. Congrats, you guys. Kevin is going to get the Backbone Irish pick, and Scott is going to get a sample pack of recent picks that we've done, including the Irish. Cheers, guys. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you to everybody who sent these samples to make this stream possible. Fun night. I appreciate all your support. Check out the Patreon if you haven't already. $5 or $10 a month, I promise you the picks we're doing, I promise good value picks. We're working with Bourbon Outfitter, the best in the business as far as fulfillment goes. I think we're on a great trajectory right now, and I appreciate everybody's support. So thank you for being here. Content is on the way. Got to get through a couple of gigs the next couple of days. Next week, we're hitting the ground running again. So thank you, and have a good rest of your night, guys. Of course, happy holidays if you're not here between now and Christmas. And that's going to do it. Cheers. Lawrence, thank you for the reminder. Have a good night, guys.